Chanda Radhika Tadale. Oh, wait. Guruve Gaura Chandra Radhika Tadale. Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadavaktaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nitya-dharma Sri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gauri Shakti Sarupaya Rupanuga Bharayate Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Ramo Ramo. So first of all I offer pranams to our Gurudev, Vishnupad Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Also our Shiksha Gurus, Nitya-dharma Sri Gauragovinda Goswami Maharaj, Sri Bhaktivedanta Madhusudana Goswami Maharaj, all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Hare Krishna. So today is chapter 10, Nitya-dharma and history. So last class was Nitya-dharma, material science and civilization. So you see how Bhaktivinoda Thakur giving us many angles, many viewpoints. So this viewpoint is from history. It's quite a funny chapter actually. So and a little simple, of course. In Jaiva-Dharma nothing is simple. This chapter a little more easy for us to understand. So in Navadvip was one Hariha Bhattacharya. So he was a Brahmin, and since many generations, his family had worshipped Vishnu. No? Means he had taken Vishnu mantra, but the idea that Vishnu's form, name, form, qualities, pastimes, Vishnu's service is eternal, this thing he could not understand. So he was, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had just appeared like 100 years ago, and he had spread Vaishnav Dharma, this Jaiva-Dharma everywhere, the chanting of the holy names. So some people were preaching against Lord Chaitanya. So he was bewildered, even though he asked many, many people, very hard to get proper answer. Because unless you ask the correct person, how you can get any proper answer? So finally, being confused, he went to one very learned Chaturbuj Nayaratna. He was Brahmin, but he was so much absorbed in the study of Nyaya. Nyaya means logic and argument. Practically speaking, Chaturbuj Nayaratna did not have one devotional bone in his body because he had no interest, no time. His mind was always absorbed in Nyaya, how to instigate debates, how to defeat someone by logic and argument. The only time Chaturbuj Nayaratna showed some devotional sentiment was at the time of Durga Puja. So when Hariha Bhattacharya came to Nayaratna, Chaturbuj Nayaratna, and asked his question, is Vaishnav Dharma eternal? At first Nayaratna was afraid, oh, maybe he's an orthodox Vaishnava. And word had definitely spread around Navadvip because already Krishna Chudamani and the Brahmin Pandits had already been defeated, no? When they challenged the Vaishnavas. So at first he was afraid to become embroiled in some debate with some orthodox Vaishnav. So he said, why are you asking me such a question? You know very well I study Nyaya. In Nyaya is no mention of Vishnu or Vishnu Bhakti. But afterwards, Hariha revealed his mind and he asked, is Vaishnav religion eternal? Because it seems to be quite recent that spread by Lord Chaitanya. Of course, we also Vaishnavas, by many generations of my forefathers, we took Vishnu mantra, but actually our goal was liberation and to merge into Brahman. But nowadays, the modern Vaishnavas, since the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, they cannot even bear to hear the word liberation or mukti. No? Before, everyone used to accept the worship of the five deities. This is called Panchupasana. No? They believe actually the absolute truth is impersonal. So just choose any deity, imagine a deity, and worship that. And once you get to that deity, then you can transcend that deity and merge into Brahman. So deity is just imaginary, they believe, an imaginary manifestation of Brahman. So you can choose Ganesh, the sun god, Shiva, Durga, or Vishnu. Any one of them you choose and you worship, but the result is the same: liberation or merging one's existence in Brahman. So before, everyone used to accept this Panchupasana, everyone used to accept the philosophy of Mayavad, but now, after Lord Chaitanya's preaching, this new type of Vaishnavas have appeared. So when Nayaratna heard this from Hariha, he became a little relieved. Oh, thank God, he's not really Orthodox Vaishnav. So Nayaratna became happy. Yes, yes, what you are saying is quite true. No, we never heard of this Vaishnavism before Lord Chaitanya, and now they are calling it eternal. So how astonishing, a religion that is not even 100 years old has now become eternal. That thing again and again was in my mind last night. Very funny. Yes, yes, this Nimai Pandit, Nayaratna is saying, has definitely destroyed the Brahmin religion. Now, before, the Brahmanas had arranged everything in such a way that no one else could read the Shastras, only the Brahmanas could read. But now, because of the preaching of Nimai Pandit, that is Lord Chaitanya, now even the low caste, like the betel nut sellers, the goldsmiths, and the oil makers, they are also reading scriptures and deliberating on the truths. No? Actually, we heard that in some places that Sudra is not allowed to read Shastra. But Sudra is not allowed to read which Shastra? That is the Karmakand section of the Vedas. But every Jiva has a right to study and practice the Bhakti the devotional section of the Vedas. So Lord Chaitanya spread this. So Nayaratna said before, only the Brahmanas could read and everyone believed our words. But now, because of Nimai Pandit, all the lower castes are also reading. No. This Nimai Pandit has destroyed the religion of the Brahmanas. Even now, because of Nimai Pandit's preaching, they're saying Sankacharya preached the false philosophy of Mayavad on the order of Lord Vishnu. So now the world is in a very bad shape because of Nimai Pandit's preaching. Nimai Pandit means Lord Chaitanya. Now even people are doubting the eternal truth of the Mayavad religion. Everyone has given up the worship of the different demigods, the Devas and the Devis. Because in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Rishikesh Govinda Seva Na Pujay Deva Deva. One who worships Krishna has no need to worship any demigod or any demigoddess. One should abandon all that Naimitic Dharma. Sarva Dharma Parityaja Mamekam Saranamraja. One should give up the worship of everyone and everything else and just surrender to Krishna and worship to Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya spread this everywhere. So, because of Lord Chaitanya's preaching, no one is worshipping anymore the demigods or Devi. No. And before the Brahmanas would get everything from the four castes, that is also finished. Soon our livelihood will be destroyed. No one's performing even the Shraddha ceremony. So he became very angry. But he was also afraid to debate the Vaishnavas because everybody knew Krishna Chudamani and others had already experienced the Vaishnavas were expert in all scripture and expert in logic and argument. Especially, this is one symptom of Mahabhagavat. Kanishthadikari can easily change. Their faith is not very strong. Madhyamadikari, their faith is very strong. They cannot change, but they are not completely expert in all Shastra and all argument. But the Uttam Bhagavat, no, their faith in Krishna is unflinching because they have direct perception. And also they're expert in logic and argument. Expert. Like you see Gurudev, no one could ask him a question he could not answer and satisfy them. So these, especially these Vaishnav Das, we're hearing Paramahamsa Babaji. No? We heard also from Haridas, no, the disciple of Nitya-dharma, all were expert in any question. So Nyayaratna, as the leader of the Brahmanas, he wanted to fight the Vaishnavas, but he was afraid because they're very expert. So he made a plan. He said, yes, you go, but we'll go in disguise. Hariha, you disguise yourself and you go, I will go with you. You start some argument, then I will also come and support you. So this way he collected 4 or 5 different brahmanas, and on some auspicious time for them, I guess it was auspicious because they're having darshan of the Vaishnavas. So chanting Haribol, Haribol, in this way they resemble Durvasa Rishi and his followers, because Durvasa always trying to make some trouble for the Vaishnavas in order to expand their glories. So they came to Godrum. That time, Hariha went and approached Advaita Das. Before he was Kalidas Lahiri Mahasaya. Now he had become a full Vaishnav. So Advaita Das did pranam. How can I serve you? We have some questions. No, here the Vaishnavas do not engage in any debate. No, please, we have some sincere inquiry, some question, if you can be kind and answer. So Advaita Das, he said, I'll go and ask my Gurudev. So he went to Paramahamsa Babaji, Paramahamsa Das Babaji. He was in the first chapter. So he came out, Paramahamsa Babaji, as well as Vaishnav Das. He was Sannyasi Thakur. So they came, they made some sitting arrangement for the guests. They also sat. Then Nyayaratna asked, I think it's Nyayaratna, asked, is Vaishnav religion eternal? Nyayaratna, that Vaishnav Das asked. Vaishnav religion is eternal, everlasting, and Sanatan. So Vaishnav Dharma is religion. So Nyayaratna asked his question. I see there are 2 types of Vaishnavism. Okay? The one that he practices, that is first. One type of Vaishnavism or Vaishnav Dharma believe that Brahma, God, the absolute truth, is without name, form, qualities, or pastimes, formless. However, since there is no question of worshipping something which is formless, right? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, avyakta vyakta chetasam vyakta, avyakta vyakta avyakta chetasam, gatir duk. This worship of the unmanifest is very difficult because the mind is material, it has to be attached to some form, some concept. And the Nirgun Brahma is beyond any concept, so very hard to worship that. Since there is no question of worshipping a formless object, how can you think of something which has no form? That is impossible. Sadhakas first imagine Brahma, the Brahma Jyoti, to have some form, then they worship that. This worship is only needed to purify the heart, and when the heart is purified, knowledge of formless Brahma awakens in the heart. At that point, there is no need to continue the worship of the deity anymore. The forms of Radha, Krishna, Ram, or Nrsimha, or Vishnu are all imaginary, byproducts of Maya. When one worships these imaginary forms, knowledge of formless Brahma awakens. These people are called the Panchupasaks, They worship the five deities, and one of these deities is Vishnu. They worship Vishnu with Vishnu mantra and consider themselves Vaishnavas. Okay? This is the first type of Vaishnav Dharma. Already in the previous chapters, it was clearly established this is not Sanatan Dharma, this is all Naimitic Dharma, because they believe the worship is temporary. So Nairatna said the second type of Vaishnav Dharma, Bhagavan Vishnu, Ram, or Krishna are accepted as Parabrahma, possessing eternal forms. When the sadhak worships one of these incarnations like Ram, Sringa, Vishnu, Krishna, with the proper mantras, he achieves eternal knowledge of the specific deity, who worships and receives the mercy of the deity. Okay. So, which of these two types of worship is called Vaishnavism? Vaishnav Das said, the second type of worship you mentioned, where the worship of Krishna is eternal, Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes are eternal, and the devotee is eternal, and the service between the individual soul and Bhagavan is eternal. This is real Vaishnav Dharma. The first that you mentioned is Vaishnav Dharma in name only, but it is false Vaishnav Dharma. It is opposed to real Vaishnav Dharma. It is temporary and has come from the Mayavad doctrine. Okay, quite easy to understand so far. Anyway, quite easy to understand this. That person's like liberated soul. So, Nayaratna said, I understand. True Vaishnav Dharma is what you receive from Lord Chaitanya. You do not accept that even the worship of Radha, Krishna, or other forms unless it's in line with Lord Chaitanya's conception. Is this not so? But how can you claim this type of Vaishnav Dharma is eternal? Because Lord Chaitanya, he pioneered this system, he appeared only 100 years ago. So how can this Vaishnav Dharma that he established be eternal? Okay. So this paragraph I will read in its totality because it's like a conclusion. Vaishnav Das said, this Vaishnav Dharma has been in existence from the very moment of the Jiva's appearance. The Jivas are anadi, eternal. Actually, we do not use the word eternal, we use the word anadi, without beginning. Because in Christianity, eternal generally means without end. But actually, something which is eternal not only has no end, it also has no beginning. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur uses the word anadi. Because the jivas have no beginning in material time. Therefore, the constitutional function of the jiva, known as Jaiva-Dharma, Sanatan Dharma, Vaishnav Dharma, Bhagavad Dharma, Prem Dharma, is also without beginning. Lord Brahma is the first jiva to take birth in the universe. As soon as he appeared, the Supreme Lord gave him sound vibration. This sound vibration, or the Veda, is the basis of Sanatan Dharma. This history is recorded in the Bhagavatam, in Chatushlok Bhagavat. When Lord Brahma meditated to understand who am I, where did I come from, what is my duty, and after long meditation, Supreme Lord Narayan spoke 4 verses. That is Chatushlok Bhagavatam. These 4 verses are the basis of Sanatan Dharma. No? But the Mundak Upanishad also mentions Brahma Devanam Pratama Samabhuva Vishvashakata Bhuvanasya Gupta. Brahma, who is the first of the demigods, who appeared from the lotus flower from the navel of Bhagavan Vishnu. In the beginning of creation, Lord Narayan gave him Brahma Vidya, spiritual knowledge. And Brahma spoke this spiritual knowledge to his sons, including his eldest son, Atharva. Okay, that is from the Mundaka Upanishad. The Rig Veda says, Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Pada Sadapasyanti Suryo. All the demigods or the liberated Gyanis always see the Supreme Lord Vishnu in front of them like one sees the sun. So many verses he quotes here. So Nyaya says, the Rig Veda says, Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. Where Vishnu is seen. What is the proof this does not refer to the Mayavad doctrine? Okay, it says Vishnu is there, yes, we accept. But which concept of Vishnu? The eternal concept or the temporary concept? Which one it says in Shastra? Okay, the Vaishnava Dharma that is included within Mayavad rejects the eternal worship of Vishnu. The Mayavadis believe when the sadhak acquires knowledge, he becomes Brahman. He becomes the deity of worship. And where is the question of worship if you become Brahman? Like Maharaj says, if everyone becomes Krishna, who's left to serve Krishna? So the scriptures everywhere clearly refute this idea. Okay. Is there any direct statement of the Veda which refutes knowledge of impersonal Gyan, Brahma Gyan, and establishes Krishna bhajan? No? Yes. Shama Chabala Prapadye, Subalat Chamam Prapadye. This is from the Taittiriya Upanishad. Yes, Raso Vaisa. Krishna is the embodiment of all nectar, of all rasa. So that clearly establishes the eternal worship of Krishna, because Krishna is worshipped by all 12 rasas. So Krishna is the enjoyer and object of all ras. So that clearly established, because in Brahmagyan there's no ras. Where in the Vedas does it directly mention the name of Krishna? Apasya Gopam Anipadanama. This is from Rig Veda, right? I saw one cowherd boy. He was darkish in complexion. He was dressed with riotous hues, means his cloth was all different colors, like a dancer, like an actor. Sometimes he follows behind the cows, sometimes he came very close, sometimes he goes very far. This is Rig Veda. So these two verses that Nayarapna says, where it doesn't even say the name of Krishna directly in the Vedas, this is your fanaticism. And Vaishnava says, no, what? Sham does not refer to Krishna, of course. Gopam means coward boy. Gopam does not refer to Gopal, Krishna. Of course it refers. No, so you cannot give the excuse it does not directly refer to, because in the Vedas always deal with indirect subject matter. Okay. One time I asked Gurudev, why Lord Chaitanya's name not directly mentioned? Even in Bhagavatam, it's a little indirect. Then Guru Maharaj says, because indirect speech is very dear to Krishna. Krishna says, Parakshavada Mama Priya. Indirect speech is very dear to Krishna. So, he said, if you look in the Vedas, all subject matter is given in an indirect manner. And the explanation has been given by the rishis. So, you should respect their commentaries like this. Like Guru Maharaj explained, if I said, there's one boy in Vrindavan, he is very dark, he is very handsome, he wears a peacock feather, he plays the flute. Who is that? Of course it's Krishna, but not say his name. This indirect is very attractive. If I said to you, Gurudev said, there is one girl in Vrindavan, she's the daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj, she is full of prema, her complexion like molten gold. Who is that? Radhika. So these indirect ways, indirect descriptions, so much attractive to the heart. And also to bewilder the demons. That's why as Kali Yuga progresses, Madhusudana Maharaj says, as Kali Yuga progresses, we become more and more foolish. No, we cannot understand the indirect things. So the acharyas, as the generations go, acharyas make it more clear, more clear, more clear, because we have less intelligence. So, Vaishnav Das said, if you study all the Vedic statements, all speak about various topics in indirect terms. Nairatna agreed, yes, okay. So tell me the history of Vaishnav Dharma. Okay. So, I've already explained Vaishnava Dharma appeared with the Jiva itself. When the soul exists, that Vaishnava Dharma exists there. The soul have no beginning, so Vaishnava Dharma have no beginning. No? If you read the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, and the Puranas, no? These describes the histories of the Aryan race. So there's descriptions of Lord Brahma, the first Vaishnava, of Lord Mahadev, Shiva, he is also Vaishnava. Narad Muni, Param Vaishnava, he spread Vaishnava Dharma everywhere. So if you look in the Mahabharata, full of descriptions of Krishna's seva, you look in Ramayana, full of the glories of Ram. No? In the beginning of creation, already we heard Brahma, the first person, he became Vaishnava by the mercy of the Lord. Then his grandson, his son was Narad, as well as the Prajapatis. Their sons were like Dhruva and Prahlad. These existed in the beginning of the creation. No? They all are Vaishnavas, as well as the kings of the Solar dynasty and the Lunar dynasty, full of Vaishnavas. Ambarish Maharaj, who else? Priyavrata, all are, especially ninth canto, describe these dynasties. All are Vaishnavas. Therefore, the Vedic Purana is full of histories in Satyuga of Vaishnavas like Prahlad, Priyavrata, others. Treta Yuga like Hanuman and everyone. Dwapara Yuga like the Gopis and Gopas. And even in Kali Yuga, so degraded age, but so many histories of Vaishnavas like Ramanuja, Vishnu Swami, Madhvacharya, they preached in South India. Nimbaditya, who preached in West India. By their grace, maybe half the population of India crossed the ocean of birth and death. So how can you say that Vaishnava Dharma is a modern thing? It's there everywhere throughout the scriptures, in all ages, since the beginning of creation to the present day. Then Nayaratna says, on what proof is there that Prahlad Maharaj is a Vaishnava? It's like, hello. Prahlad Maharaj spoke nothing else. He spoke Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Padas, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, all these things spoken by Prahlad. So, Nayaratna said, what proof is there that Prahlad Maharaj was Vaishnava? So, Vaishnav Das said, his gurus were Sanda Namaka. His Sanda Namaka preached to Prahlad, contaminated Brahma, Mayavad, Brahmagyan contaminated with Mayavad. But Prahlad gave up their instructions very strongly and always chanted Harinam. No? So there's no doubt he is a Vaishnav. Could he be anything else? No way. So, Nayaratna, if as you say Vaishnava Dharma is eternal, then what Lord Chaitanya gave special? What new insight did he reveal? Why have you, if Vaishnava Dharma is eternal, why you give so much respect to Lord Chaitanya? Okay. Vaishnava Das said, Vaishnava Dharma is like a flower. In the time of Prahlad and others, it was like a bud. You know, bud? Little sprout. In the beginning of creation, these four ideas were given to Brahma, four aspects of Sanatana Dharma. That is Bhagavad Gyan, knowledge of Bhagavan. Maya Vigyan, we heard already in the last chapter. Vigyan means understanding Bhagavan in comparison to material knowledge. Like without light, there can be no shadow. So a little bit looking at the shadow, you can also understand the light. Understanding the temporary nature of this world, you can understand Bhagavan is the opposite. So this is called Vigyan, Maya Vigyan, as well as Sadhan Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. These four things Lord Narayan gave: knowledge of Bhagavan, knowledge of Maya, Sadhan Bhakti, the appropriate means to achieve the goal of for Prema Bhakti. So in the time of Brahma, in the beginning of creation, it was like a sprout. At the time of Prahlad, this sprout became a bud. In the time of Vyas, Veda Vyas, that means Mahabharat, Krishna's time, that bud became a flower, a blossom. A blossom means a little flower. In the time of the Vaishnavacharyas like Ramanuja, Madhva, and others, this bud became a flower. But the fully blossomed flower of Prem with a very sweet fragrance that attracted the hearts of all the jivas, that is Lord Chaitanya. Right? Even the time of Krishna, the time of Vedavyas, Prema was there but not distributed. But Lord Chaitanya distributed everywhere. How? Through the chanting of the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Did anyone understand the glories of Kirtan before the appearance of Lord Chaitanya? No one understood. No. Before Lord Chaitanya, had anyone tasted or distributed from the storehouse of Prema like Lord Chaitanya? No, never. Okay, now we have many questions here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 questions of Nitya-dharma. So today's chapter is a little quick. Okay. Nitya-dharma asks here now 8 questions to Vaishnav Das. If Kirtan is so great, so beneficial, so auspicious, why the modern day pundits do not give any respect to it? Then Vaishnav Das said, these days the meaning of Pandit has become obscured. Pandit means one who is enlightened by knowledge. These days a Pandit is simply one who can uselessly argue points. A Pandit, one is known as a Pandit if he can show off the vain sophistry of the Nyaya Shastra. Of course, Nitya-dharma was like this, so he must have been a little bit nervous. One who can show, no, Bhagavatam also says, one who will be known as a learned scholar just by word jugglery. That is in 12th canto Bhagavatam. Who can juggle the words here and there, that person is called Pandit. But how can such people addicted to mundane argument and logic, how they can understand the real meaning of scriptures or give that explanation to others? The truth is, in Kali Yuga, those who are known as Pandits are expert at deceiving themselves and deceiving others by useless arguments. We saw that in the Sakyarasti. Useless arguments. Showing hundreds, not even one statement of Gurudev saying that Prabhupada was a Manjari, but there are thousands trying to show, look, but there's not even one direct statement. By logic and argument, they try to force many foolish things they're saying. And people accept these people as Pandit. Anyway, this is the symptom of Kali Yuga. No respect, not going to any high, pure Vaishnava and ask question thing. I understand everything myself. So, Pandit means, Kali Yuga Pandit means that. Useless logic and argument. Bewilder themselves and bewilder others. Like Mukunda from America, his explanation of the prayers of the Jaladut completely opposed to everything all the acharyas have ever stated. When people give this as praman, yes, very good, and accept this as pandit, this is 100% symptom of Kali Yuga. Okay, so why pandits do not give regard to Nam Sankirtan? Because there are no pandits left in Kali Yuga. Those pandits who are left, they are called Vaishnavas. Nitya-dharma, yes, I admit there are no qualified pandits. But why high-class brahmanas are not accepting this Vaishnava Dharma? No. Brahmanas have the qualities of goodness and truthfulness. Why is it that no brahmanas, almost all brahmanas are opposed to Vaishnava Dharma? And Vaishnava Das said, because you asked the question, I have to give an answer. But I request you not to feel any pain in what I say. Don't take offense. Nitya-dharma said, whatever it may be, we are fond of religious principles of a Brahman like neutrality, self-control and tolerance, there is no question of us being offended by what you say. Okay, Vaishnav Das said, okay. Please think carefully. Ramanuja, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami, Nimbaditya, they were all Brahmanas. And each had thousands of Brahmana disciples. I think Ramanuja had 10,000 sannyasi disciples. All our Brahmanas. So each of them had thousands and thousands of disciples. In Bengal, our Lord Chaitanya, he was a Brahmin. Lord Nityananda was a Radheya Brahmin. Advaitacharya was a Varendra Brahmin. Most of the Goswamis and Mahajans all came from Brahmin families. Thousands of Brahmanas with the crest jewel of the dynasty of the Brahmanas have taken refuge of Sanatan Dharma and are preaching this spotless religion all over the world. So how can you claim that no high-class Vaishnavas have taken shelter? How can you claim no high-class Brahmanas have taken shelter of Vaishnava Dharma? No. We know that those Brahmanas who honor Vaishnava Dharma are all high-class Brahmanas. However, some people who are taken birth in Brahminical families have become inimical to Vaishnava Dharma because they have become degraded by the faults of degraded family. Right? Is there any real pure dynasty of Brahmanas? Really? Nowhere in the line, some woman didn't go out and have a baby with someone else. Right? A Brahmana who eats some foodstuffs from outside, he loses his Brahmin caste. So you can, everyone, especially in Kali Yuga, drinking some wine, eating some meat, or some woman goes off and has some affair and that baby comes in the line. So in Kali Yuga, no pure dynasty of Brahmanas really. All is Varna Sankara, mixed progeny. As well as by bad association, they have lost their intelligence. And false education, all are going to becoming brainwashed in the modern demonic and atheistic education system. There is no evidence they are actually Brahmanas by quality. It should be noticed that in Kali Yuga, the real number of Brahmanas is very small, and they are called Vaishnavas. When a Brahmana receives Vaishnava Gayatri Mantra, which is the mother of the Vedas, he becomes an initiated Vaishnava. However, due to the contamination of Kali Yuga, they accept other non-Vedic mantras, non-Vedic initiation, and abandon their Vaishnavism. Granted, the number of Vaishnava Brahmanas is very small. However, there is no reason to concoct a conclusion that is opposed to the scriptures. Understand? Really? Okay. Nyayaratna. You can imagine how he's feeling. Why so many low-class people accept Vaishnava Dharma? So many Americans, Russians, Argentinians, Australians, you see, very low-class people. Then why low-class people accepting Vaishnava Dharma? Because low-caste persons, very humble, automatically they attract the mercy of the Supreme Lord and the Vaishnavas. They always consider themselves wretched and low. No? Thus they are eligible for the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Without the mercy of a Vaishnava, no one can become a Vaishnava. However, humility can never touch the heart of someone who is intoxicated with high birth, no, and wealth. So such people, very hard for them to bow to any Vaishnava. Nyayaratna then became very sad. No need to discuss this any further. I know that you are probably soon will mention the verse, Rakshasa Kalim Asrita Jayanti Brahmayonisu. In the age of Kali, demons take birth in Brahmin families. Okay, so let us not discuss this topic any further. Next question. Why do Vaishnavas disrespect Sankaracharya? Vaishnav Das said, Never said Vaishnavas never disrespect Sankaracharya. That's why Lord Chaitanya gave him the titles Acharya. Acharya means Guru. No? So we never disrespect him. We only reject his Mayavad philosophy, which is a covered form of Buddhism. In the Padma Purana it said, Lord Narayan ordered Shiva, Mayavadam asat shastram pracham bodhayam uchita. You should establish Mayavad based on false scriptures, which is actually covered Buddhism. In this way you hide, you cover my real Sarup. No? So just quickly we'll explain, because Bhakti fulfill all desires. So demonic persons will have nothing else except demonic desires. So demonic persons, what they'll do, hey Vishnu, give me the atom bomb. Hey Vishnu, I want to kill this guy. Hey Vishnu, I want to kill this guy. So these demons of demonic nature, what they do, they will disturb Bhagavan, they disturb the Vaishnavas. So in order that the path of devotion would not be polluted by demonic association, Vishnu ordered Shankaracharya to cover devotion by preaching a false philosophy, covered Buddhism of Mayavad. What is the fault of Sankaracharya? He just following the order of Supreme Lord Narayana or Vishnu. When Vaishnav gave the example of Buddha Dev, we accept Buddha as an incarnation. He is Vishnu himself, but we do not accept his philosophy of Buddhism. But of course, we respect Lord Buddha. In the same way, we respect Sankaracharya, but we do not respect his philosophy. But we understand he did so on the order of Supreme Lord. Now, the Supreme Lord and Lord Shiva are both all-knowing and all-auspicious. They cannot do anything which is inauspicious for anyone. No? So, we cannot be narrow-minded and blame why Sankaracharya preached Mayavadi, why Bhagavan ordered him. This is not proper. No? Bhagavan and his activities are beyond human reasoning. So an intelligent people should never think Ishwara should not have done that. It would be better if Bhagavan had not have done that. Sometimes we think, why Gurudev did that? That is not proper. Sometimes it says Gurudev give favoritism to someone, but that is not true. Better we don't think all these things, because they know what everyone needs, they know what is good for everyone. Ishwara knows all jivas. Only he knows the necessity for binding men of a demonic nature and illusion. We have no meaning of understanding Ishwara's purpose for manifesting the jivas and then destroying their forms at the time of dissolution. Why he does that? That is his pastime. Okay? So those who are devoted to Bhagavan just hear his pastime and feel happiness. They don't engage in intellectual debates about all these things. Otherwise just become confused. Some people were saying about why Gurudev did not reveal this. Why Gurudev spoke in a hidden way about Prabhupada's Sarup, he should not have done this. They think like this. Why we did not present our doubt to Gurudev? That thing we explained, no. We know Gurudev knows perfectly what he's doing. Who are we to challenge him? That is not proper. So whatever Bhagavan, Guru, Vaishnav do, we understand or not understand, but understand they do for the benefit of everyone. Okay. So these are the questions. Why Pandits don't respect Harinam? Why Brahmanas not accept Vaishnava Dharma? Why low class people accepting Vaishnava Dharma? Why you do not respect Sankaracharya? Okay. Why the Vaishnavas say Mayavad is opposed to Bhagavad Gita, the Vedas and the Vedanta? Vaishnavas always say Mayavad has no place in Shastra. So explain that. So Vaishnav said, okay, you explain to me one verse in all the scriptures which describes and accepts Mayavad. Give me one example. If you look at any verse, if you look before and after, some verse may seem to establish Mayavad, But if you look at what was spoken before and what was spoken after, you'll see there's not even one verse in any scripture which supports the Mayavad conclusion. That is why we cannot just take one statement of Gurudev, one statement of the scriptures. No? You have to look what was said before, what was said after, then you can get the complete picture. So, why you say Mayavad is opposed to the Vedanta, Bhagavad Gita, and the Veda? Then Vaishnava just said, okay, you tell me one statement which supports it. Nairatna cannot say. I have not studied Upanishads. I read a little Gita. I have not studied Vedanta. But through logic and argument, I can make a pot into a piece of cloth and a piece of cloth into a pot. So, I cannot enter that. I cannot tell you one statement which supports Mayavad. But tell me why the Vaishnavas disrespect the prasad of the demigods and the demigoddesses. If someone gives us Shiv Prasad or Durga Prasad, why the Vaishnavas do not accept it? Vaishnav Das said, the Vaishnavas do not disrespect the prasad of any demigod or demigoddess. Krishna is the controller of everything. All the devas and devis are his devotees. But we cannot disrespect the demigods because they are Vaishnavas. And one attains devotion by respecting the remnants of the Vaishnavas and their foot dust and their Charnamrita. However, when Mayavadis worship the demigods and demigoddesses, the devotees do not accept this because their worshippers are polluted by the contamination of Mayavad. Right? Imagine if someone came to Prema. Here, Prema, you don't really exist, but here's an apple. Ah, I don't exist. This apple is illusory, and you also don't exist. There you go. Who would accept it? It's like an insult. Oh, Prema, you have no nose, no mouth, no eyes, no ears, no hands, no legs, but here's an apple. Someone who has no mouth, hands, eyes, ears, or legs, how can they eat an apple anyway? So demigods, when someone is contaminated by Mayavad and they worship these five deities never accept the offering because no real devotion, no real affection there. The worship of the demigods are mostly Mayavadis and is detrimental to one's bhakti and offense to accept that prasad when it is offered to us. If a pure Vaishnava offers the prasad of Krishna to the devas and demigods, they accept it very happily. And then the Vaishnavas will take that prasad with great relishment. Like in Bhubaneswar, the big deity of what's his called? Lingaraj, huge deity of Shiva. So previously next door is the temple of Ananta Vasudev. Ananta Vasudev means Shesh. So before they would cook all prasad and offer to Ananta Vasudev, and that prasad they would give to Lord Shiva. And that prasad we take very blissfully, very happily. Another point, the Yoga Shastras describe if one wants one-pointed devotion, he should also not take the prasad of anyone else. Like material example, a chaste woman, how she can eat the remnants of any other man? Not possible, only own husband. In the same way, one who wants one-pointed, the scriptures say only take prasad of your worshipful deity. So if you follow scripture to achieve your goal and you neglect some other things according to scripture, there is no fault at all. Okay. All right, I accept. So Vaishnav Das said the various practitioners only behave in a way to try to attain perfection in their respective goals as scriptures recommend. No? Therefore, Vaishnavas are not disrespecting that prasad, but to achieve their goal, they're just accepting Vishnu prasad. This is not disrespect, this is just to achieve one's goal. Okay, like someone goes to university to study medicine, you cannot say why he's neglecting chemistry, why he's neglecting geology, why he's neglecting Russian architecture, why he's neglecting English language. No. Not that he's neglecting, but he wants one goal. To achieve that goal, he's just studying medicine, but he's not disrespecting other, what's the word? Other branches of knowledge. Nairatna. 2 more questions. What's wrong with animal killing? Especially the Brahmanas, they make a lot of donations by sacrificing animals. Why do you oppose animal killing? Okay. Some scriptures also support animal killing. You cannot deny. Vaishnava does. It is not the intention of Shastra to support animal killing. The Vedas say, Ma hingsat sarvani bhutani. One should have a feeling of non-violence to all living entities. This statement forbids violence to animals. As long as a human being is strongly influenced by Rajagun and Tamagun, then definitely they will engage in activities such as sex life, meat eating, and intoxication. The purpose of the Vedas is not to promote such activities, but to restrict them. When a human being is in Sattva Gun, automatically he refrains from sex life, animal slaughter, and intoxication. Until that point, the Vedas prescribe various means to control such tendencies, right? If you want sex desire, if you can have too much sex desire, then don't be like a dog in the street with 100 ladies. Scripture says, accept one girl's hand in marriage, do one properly. Okay, if you're going to drink wine, then there's one sacrifice. No, then take sacrificial wine. And if you're going to eat meat, then people will do it anyway. Then you should sacrifice the animal to do it again, take properly. So the purpose of the scriptures is not to promote sex life, intoxication, and meat eating, because people will do it anyway. So the idea of the scriptures is to gradually control. Right? For example, if you want to eat meat, you have to buy a goat, then you have to pay the brahmana so much, you have to chant all the mantras. This takes quite a while, no? Probably a few hours, and you have to give so much donation to the brahmanas, and so it costs a lot. Then you spend, say, $1,000 to eat your goat, and 2, 3 hours, 4 hours at the temple. Then next Sunday comes along, what do you want? Goat? It's like, just stick to the vegetarian diet, easy. In this way, it controls people, lowers tendencies. So, Bhagavatam says, let me read this, it's a little long. It is observed that people in this world have a natural tendency to intoxication, meat eating, and sexual enjoyment. Therefore, special provision have been given where association with the opposite sex is permitted in marriage, eating of flesh is permitted through sacrifice, and drinking of wine is through the ritual known as Sautramani Yagya. The purpose of such scriptural injunctions is to restrain the licentious tendencies, the lusty tendencies, okay, premise, stay awake, of the general population, and to gradually establish them in proper moral conduct. The scriptures their goal is to gradually bring people away from such activities, not to promote it. Therefore, here, interesting thing I read. The Vaishnava conclusion is that regard, there is no objection if a person who is ruled by passion and ignorance kills animals. However, a person in the mode of goodness should not do so. Prabhupada would say when he's preaching, okay, you eat goats, you eat rabbits, you eat pigs, but scripture never say to eat the cow. So eat other animals, but no need to eat the cow. Prabhupada would preach like that. Okay, and last, why do the Vaishnavas object to the Shraddha ceremony? By this we repay one's body to the forefathers, one's debt to the forefathers. No? There's so many debts we owe to the plants who give us fruit, the cows which give us smitana, milk, our parents who gave us this body, the forefathers who gave our parents their bodies. plants which give food grains, demigods which give water and light. No. So Shraddha is one ceremony by which we repay the debt to the forefathers. So why Vaishnavas are against Shraddha? Then Nairatna said, the Shraddha ceremony is one section of the Karma Kandas. Vaishnavas have no objection if someone performs the Shraddha ceremony. For example, even Vaishnavas like Advaitacharya, he also performed the Shraddha ceremony, but he did it in a Vaishnava way, not the ordinary Karma Kanda way. The Vaishnavas also do Shraddha, they take Bhagavad Prasad, and that Prasad of Vishnu they offer to the forefathers. So Vaishnavas have no objection to the Shraddha ceremony. But Scripture declares, Devashi, Bhutapta, Nrinam, Pitranam, Nakinkaranayam, Charajam, Sarvapaya Saranam, Saranyam, Kato Mukunda Paribritta Kamam. That person who surrenders fully to Mukunda, he becomes free from all debt, including debt to the forefathers, the demigods, human beings, and all other jivas, because he fully surrendered to Krishna. No? Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj explained, if someone owes, right, Ekanath owes me $5, Nitya-Tarangini owes me $10, but I owe Nitya-Tarangini $50 or something, and instead of paying me, everyone can pay their debt to my debtor, to Vishnu. This way everyone becomes free of debt. It means no need to give your $5 to me, then I give to Nitya-Tarangini. Everyone can give their money direct to Nitya-Tarangini. Then their debt is clean and mine is also clean. So Vishnu have that power because everything contained in the body of Krishna, all demigods, all forefathers, everyone are inside the body of Krishna. So one who surrenders to Krishna becomes free from all debt. Therefore, bhaktas who have taken full shelter of Bhagavan are not required to perform the Shraddha ceremony and other karma kanda activities meant for gaining release from the debt to one's forefathers. Like they put a picture on the prasad, but there's actually no need to do. Right? If someone becomes Kanishta-adhikari, they deliver 7 generations of forefathers. If someone becomes a Madhyamadhikari, they deliver 14 generations of forefathers. If someone becomes a Uttamadhikari, they liberate 21 generations, backwards and forwards. So why need Shraddha ceremony? But if someone wants to do, we don't stop them, right? But actually no need to do. Okay? Vaishnavas offer Bhagavad Prasad to the forefathers, and hey, battery's about to run out. Plug it in. There. Quickly. Okay, we're almost finished. Quickly. Everybody's so slow. Okay. Yes, we have power. Last class it cut out because we forgot to charge it. So finally, at what point does one has the eligibility to act in that way, to become free from all the karma kand and gyan kand provisions in the scripture? What's the qualification of giving up all materialistic activities? What's the qualification? Vaishnav does. Tarvat karmani kurvati nanna vidyati yavat matkata shravanadaro vatshrada yavan najate. When he develops full faith in Harikatha, means by serving Krishna, by hearing Harikatha, everything is accomplished. One is obliged to engage in karma and follow the rules of the path of karma as long as one has not developed attachment for Harikatha. Nairatna became very happy. I'm delighted to hear all your explanations, right? Many questions he asked. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, as well as all the other ones, like 15 questions he asked. So Nairatna became very happy. I'm delighted to hear your explanations. He's not envious now. Seeing your scholarship and fine discrimination, my faith has awakened in Vaishnava Dharma. Oh, my brother Hariha, take off your false mustache. because he came in disguise. Get rid of that wig and false mustache. Let's go. There is no profit in debating anymore. These Vaishnavas are gurus amongst the Pandits. They're expert in extracting the essence of all the scriptures. We Brahmanas may say whatever we like to try and make some money from the population, but it is doubtful whether anyone in the land of Bengal, or in all India for that matter, compared with such a renowned scholar and exalted Vaishnava as Lord Chaitanya. Let's go, the day is almost finished, it will be hard for us to cross the Ganga. So Nararatna and his followers left chanting Haribol, Haribol, Jai Sachinandan, Jai Sachinandan. Beautiful chapter, no? Beautiful chapter. Okay, so everyone can read again. It's a very quick chapter. It's chapter 10. And now, chapter 11, Nitya-dharma and idol worship. Actually, one time I said to Gurudev, oh Gurudev, Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives 2 chapters of Jaiva-Dharma. I think it was chapter, when he met with the Chandkazi, what chapter was that? 6? Can't remember. Chapter 6, Chandkazi is there discussing. No? Also, there's a question asked to Sanatana Goswami, in Islam, is there any idea of prema? And now the whole of chapter 11. So I said, Gurudev, 2-3 chapters in Jaiva-Dharma, preaching just to the Muslims. I think Bhaktivinoda Thakur has some great vision for prachar to the Muslim countries, and Guru Maharaj said, no doubt about it. So this also for the Christians, because Christians and Jews and Muslims opposed to the deity worship. So what is deity worship? What is the transcendental Vigraha worshipped by the Vaishnavas? I think all of us, when we come to the temple first time and we see the deities, we're like, seems very strange. So this is called Vaishnava Dharma and idolatry, idol worship. It's very important we can understand all this. What is the deity, how it's manifest, how we see the deity. So today, people can read chapter 10 again, and then the day after tomorrow, that is Monday, that is chapter 11, Nitya-dharma adultery. Sunday is the solar eclipse. I don't know if you have the solar eclipse in your area, but you should not eat, drink, pass stool, sleep during those hours of the solar eclipse. We scheduled some class with the Mexicans at 8 o'clock, but we forgot about the solar eclipse. So I think the solar eclipse begins here at 10. Maharaj wants to give some class in the morning, so let's see what we'll do. I'll let all the Mexicans know. So Go Premanandi, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Can Vaishnavas offer marijuana to Krishna? Question. Can Vaishnavas offer marijuana to Krishna? Can the Vaishnavas offer chicken to Krishna? Someone can give the argument, why not? It's also part of the creation. No. So the answer is no. Why? Krishna is a coward boy. Krishna only likes butter, cream, rotis, and sabji. Krishna never touches these tamasic things. So what to speak of marijuana? Krishna don't even like carrots, onion, and garlic. So we cannot offer these things to Krishna because these things are not sattvic, and Krishna never accepts these things. Therefore, some people offer it to Shiva. Okay, Shiva has right to take marijuana because Shiva is Param Bhagavat, but we are not Shiva. So Shiva can smoke ganja, but Shiva never becomes stoned. Shiva never becomes bewildered. So Shiva can take these things and Shiva experiences no transformation in his Swarup. Like Balaram drinks, but Balaram doesn't become drunk. Balaram doesn't forget himself. So when we try to imitate Ishwara, Shiva, Gurudev, Bhagavan, if we try to imitate them by also following their activities, the result is we will become degraded. Krishna danced with millions of young ladies, but Krishna had no lust. But if someone thinks I will also dance with some young ladies, what will happen? Lust will come, you will become degraded. So sometimes a great person may do something, no, that time we should not follow the example of their activities. Right, sorry, let me start again. If there's a difference between a great person's activities and their instructions, we should not follow their activities, we should just follow their instructions. Right? Shiva drank poison. So if you want to smoke ganja, why don't you also drink some poison first, a few liters, and see how you go? So the answer is we should not do like that. If we try to imitate, we will become degraded. Okay, so some people offer Shiva these things, datura and ganja. Shiva can take, no problem. But if we take, we will become destroyed. And Manikuntala is asking betel nut. No, devotees don't take betel nut. Even though betel nut can be offered to Radha Krishna. One time, Lord Chaitanya, when he was in Grihastha Ashram, no, Nimai, someone gave him some betel nut. And he took, and he became unconscious and fell on the ground. And he taught by this pastime, Vaishnavas should not take betel nut also. Like in Sevakunj, they offer betel and tambul and things. They would give to Gurudev, then Gurudev would take the outside leaf. He'd take one tiny little bit of the outside leaf, just to respect, because that is Radharani's prasad. He would not like put the whole thing in his mouth and eat it. So one tiny thing, he would take, or people just do like this. So I'll finish because now is prasad. One time, our Gurudev, Sri Bhakti Pragyan Kesav Goswami Maharaj, went with his godbrother Narahari Seva Vigraha. They went to visit the great Vaishnav Gok Bamsidas Babaji Maharaj. So Babaji Maharaj was a complete avadut. So he was drinking chai. And he would offer the chai to Gonitai. Then he would say, no, Gonitai don't drink chai. He would say like that. Then they came for darshan of Babaji Maharaj, and he gave them chai prasad, 2 cups. Then Param Gurudev, Bhakti Pragyan Kesava Maharaj, he just kept the chai next to him like that. Then Narahari Seva Vigraha said, you will not drink the chai prasad? He said, oh, Babaji, he can take, he is like Lord Shiva, he can drink this thing, he can take this thing. But we are not on the same level, so we just do pranam to that thing, but we do not imitate, we do not follow. Okay? Thank you very much. So everyone do their homework. Many people say it's the first time they've actually read Jaiva-Dharma. So, chapter 11, Nitya-dharma and idolatry. Go Premanandini, Hare Krishna.